Well, hello, people. It is Julianne and I, Corynthia Soul Ascender, doing another podcast. And in this one, I'm really excited to learn a lot more about Julianne's profound awakening that she had. So, hi, Julianne.
Hi, how are you?
Good. So grateful that you're here with me again. And we are going to just really dive into what you experienced and happened to you when you had your awakening.
Well, actually, I went up, throughout our lives, I think that we have these epiphanies. And I've had several epiphanies throughout my life. And one of the huge ones was I had a session with you. It was a one-on-one, and it was over Zoom, and you channeled in the Arcturians. And honestly, I didn't feel very much at the time. And then that night, we also had a group at a crystal shop, and it was really great meditation. Went in and you did your channeling. And I went home that night, and I'm Buddhist, so when I was chanting, all of this knowledge just started coming up through me, and I had this huge understanding. I have it written down somewhere, but it was like after those two sessions, it was like this great big profound understanding that relieved so much pressure in my soul, in my life. And how and why would that happen after a couple of sessions like that? Like, what is happening within our bodies when we do the work?
A lot of times it's ourselves are just reawakening. There isn't anything that is substantial that just click, or how do I put that better? It's basically you're just remembering. Your body is remembering who you are. So it's like the frequency is coming in of whatever I had brought through for you through your guides and your angels. And it was just opening up something that's always been there of you remembering you.
Mm.
And that's where you had that breakthrough and how it happened.
Yeah, it was like it almost creeps up on you. It's not like I was expecting it, it was just did the session. That was really interesting. Went to the group and the meditation was great and the teachings were great. And then, yeah, it was so profound. Um, when you say that our cells are awakening, does it mean like awakening from past lives, or is it awakening from like a collective consciousness?
That's a good question. And let me ask the Arcturians on that one because I don't know the answer to that per se. So let's see what they have to say. And for those of you who don't know, I do light language. So you will hear a combination of light language as well as in English, the information, oftentimes throughout these podcasts. So it's more of a opening and awakening of your true soul self. It will trickle in your maybe past lives, other soul adventures, other timelines, things like that. But it's mainly just purely your your eyes are being opened up to you. Because when we were born, our eyes had to be shut. And it had to be shut so that we could experience life without the knowing and knowledge of what we are and understand the depths and the darkness of where humanity is and to understand the suffering and the transformation ability that we have as a human being. And if we weren't in this world to experience that, then we wouldn't really stay here on this world because we know the truth and we just be like, this is silly, peace out. So a lot of this is us reawakening our aspects of selves that have been closed off since the day that we were born. So that's some good information.
Yeah. So not necessarily from a past life.
No, they're saying that might trickle. Some of that information might come back through, but this is literally just you awakening of, I am so much more than this world.
I am so much more than this world. Gosh, like that's such a big statement. What does that exactly mean? In Buddhism, they say that like I am the Buddha, like you are a Buddha, and the Buddha is life. And I was thinking then, well, okay, I'm the Buddha is life. What is life exactly? And that's what that brought up when you had said that we're so much more than this world?
Well, the main thing is that we're trying to learn how to evolve out of this human aspect that we have become. And a lot of that is a denseness that we were never meant to be as humans, but it has become that. And for us to awaken that we can navigate this earth and live this existence of a human, but in a much more expansive way, a much more healthy way, not in an enslavement mindset or society aspect that has created humanity to this time frame. And it's telling us that yes, we're on this world, we're on this earth, but we are more. We are not meant to be what we are in this moment of humanity. We are meant to be expanded beings in a cohesive, loving way, in a way that we work together on different dimensions. We work together as humans, we work together with other beings that are of the light and love, and that we no longer self-enslave and others don't enslave us. And the purpose of right now is simply to awaken and to move through this evolution of what humans are becoming into this heart center existence with the physical body, not just our light body, but our physical body. And this is very unique and different than anything any of us have experienced before in this existence of this particular earth.
You know, when you right now in science, they're finding so many discoveries and things that we thought were correct that they're like, oh no, absolutely incorrect. Ancient prehistoric humans, way older than they thought, way smarter than they thought, way more advanced than they thought. So we're coming into this point of time where we had one idea and now we're finding out the world, and like even under the pyramids, they're finding that they did this sonar and they found there's a bunch of structures under the pyramids. We're finding out that reality isn't exactly what we thought it was. Can we expect more of that? And does that change because we are expanding? Is our knowledge like we used to think that Neanderthals walked around in loincloths and grunting, and now we know they're finding more evidence that that is not true. Every time I go, I never thought it was true, honestly. I think that that was a ridiculous idea that they lived in caves. There's not enough caves. That's ridiculous. But what do you think that is the reason that all of that is coming to light just because our scientific tools have gotten better, or because our scientific tools have gotten better and our imaginations have allowed us to see deeper and we're expanding so much?
I think it's a combo for sure. I mean, the science evolution is pretty profound overall, but a lot of it is that we're also allowing our brains to see beyond the blinders. We're allowing ourselves to see beyond, because generally humanity is not happy. We're always trying to fight for the next. We're trying to do whatever we think it is that is successful for us. And everybody's different what that means. But the main thing is that we're learning that we're tired of this fight. We're tired of this mindset and belief system because it's literally killing us from the inside out. And with that, I also feel like there's so many frequencies that are being infiltrated into the earth right now. And there's a lot of evidence of that with the frequencies coming from the sun and just the resident, I forget how it's called, something frequencies that just the earth is vibrating at is changing and getting strong.
Schumer.
Yeah, something like that.
Something. Yeah, it's so stupid that I can't remember that because I watch a podcast, this Stephen Burns, where he talks about earth weather and he says it all the time. And you would think I could remember it once. But yeah, the earth weather, the space weather, it's space weather is what he's talking about, not earth weather. We know earth weather, but yeah, amazing. And I heard that we're also going to be going through a photon belt soon, which is like tons of information coming into us.
And that I believe, because we can't evolve if we don't have the information to evolve into.
So photons, which are particles of light that act like waves when we're observing them, are full of information. And if we're going through this giant photon belt, which happens every few thousand years or so, that's a lot of energy that we're being hit with. So people that are like, I feel like I just want to level up and know this stuff, or I'm really curious about like, how do I incorporate it into my life? How did ancient peoples know this? Is like our DNA, does it hold these truths? Do you think our DNA holds these truths?
Absolutely. I believe our DNA has so much more than we could ever fathom, and science will probably never totally understand. I feel like our DNA is such a complicated but intelligence that it's beyond our scope of literally understanding.
Is it possible to like ask the Arcturians about the second chromosome in our DNA? It's spliced together. The ends of them, which have things called telomeres on them, and telomeres protect your DNA strands. The telomeres on the second one, there's telomeres on each end, but there's two that are fused together in the middle. So there's telomeres, ends in the middle of the second chromosome. Like, how does that even happen? Nature doesn't do that. I mean, usually nature won't do that, like try to put two ends together. That doesn't even make sense. So
Yeah,
is
I could definitely
that information being fused together?
let's see what they have to say on that.
Okay.
Kanayatanaya sanakashana bahanta, salon kuyendia shi chimpanzee sidia tantawaya taki. Ni aki sanatuya la hanta si wochichi by sanayatalo wakai tanana. So some of that DNA structure actually has been imprinted and implanted in us since we've been born. That we were born with it, but literally put into us since we've been in this life existence. So that we can start passing it along and passing it into the next generations. And they're also doing it not just to humans, they're doing it to animals and all sorts of animals, not just mammals. They're doing it to reptiles, all just living creatures in general on this earth. And the reason why is because they want us to evolve healthy and in a different way. And if we just maintained in our old DNA and the closed aspect of it, there would still be no change. Kind of like there hasn't been a whole lot of change in hundreds and hundreds of years, but it's time that we have to create this transformation. And therefore, they're manipulating, and I'm not saying that the Arcturians themselves, it's just in general, our beings of where our galactic souls come from, are helping with this manipulation to allow us to awaken and to be evolved in a way that humans have never been. But it won't take, I mean, it takes more than just the DNA to be shifted. It's going to take us as a soul to have this fight and this growth within us to evolve. And we're basically like an experiment that's happening, because whatever we're doing in this experience and this expression is helping them understand all souls, not just our souls on this particular earth, but all souls, and how we can shift and change and be a more dynamic collective of beings. So the DNA itself, yes, it's correct that it is a mind blowing. I mean, literally, it would blow our minds if we understood the actual understanding of what the DNA holds and the structure of creation that DNA is, and that it allows the formation of the human body and all the animal bodies. And it also holds on to the creation within the mind and also the heart area, the heart existence. And when they add in these different parts of the DNA can expand and grow from the inside out to create this physical body in a more resilient and a more expanded way. So that's why they're implanting it into us currently. Not all humans, some of us are just kind of trial and error at the moment to see how this expression works. And then it'll become more the reproduction of us having children and how that shifts with the new DNA awakening. And they're also implanting and imprinting that into people who are also not having families. It's not necessary. It's more of, this is still an experiment on their level, and we have agreed to come in on this time frame to be part of this experiment and expression to evolve in a way that we can maintain and sustain Earth in a different way. So
Wow.
that's,
So who is they? Who are they that is it the Arcturians that are progressing our DNA along or
they are
progressing
one of
our
them.
what's that?
They are one of them, but the other thing is that it's not just the Arcturians. I remember them saying at the beginning of this was that it's all the galactic solar systems of souls and beings that come to inhabit Earth to have this expression experience. They're doing it as well. So it's like they're in a collaboration of like, let's make humans better. Let's make them more in a superhuman form. Let's transform this. So it's like a collaboration, but depending on where our souls come from and what galaxy systems and what we're evolved through with each of our souls. So there's different ways of tuning us, is the way they're explaining is they're tuning us into this new form.
Has this experience happened on other planets with other beings too?
Yes.
Okay, so they didn't just single us out that they were gonna fix the humans. It's kind of what they do for life, like we do on this planet.
Yes. And
That is,
that's what they were saying. It's an experiment still, and they're not doing it to torture us. It's not doing it. We literally agreed to come here to experience this and give feedback, basically, so that we can create the new human in the new earthly realm.
yeah, interesting. What would the new earthly realm look like? Is that, we talk about how it's like, well, not we, like me and you, but I've heard people talk about like this is a matrix. This is built out of our mind. What would the Arcturians say about that? Like, is this a type of matrix that we all collectively as a mind create together?
That is a great question. I've had that same question, so I'm glad you're asking it. Let's ask them. The matrix idea is probably the simplest form for you to actually grasp, but it's way more complicated than that. For us to fully explain it in this moment, the brain would not actually understand. It's impossible when you're in a lower frequency to see the bigger picture and to see and understand the complications and the complements that we're creating in doing this. If we were to explain everything to you, there would be a lot of anger and upheaval, but not in a way that you would hate us because we are of you and we are you. It's more of, why can't we move this faster? Because in this denseness that you exist in, it's a lot harder to evolve things and a lot slower to evolve things than how we do it in these other galaxies, different Earth existences that we currently have. So a lot of you knew coming into this earthly plane that this was the new evolution. A lot of you are here simply for this purpose. And the reason of this is that you were given that this would take a lot less time, that this was going to be much easier. Well, as we all experience when we're trying something new, sometimes that's not the case. And sometimes there is things that don't flow as easily or move as quickly as we hypothesized to be. And it's a frustration as your soul feels it's trapped in this existence, in this human body. And we don't want you to understand too much of who you are and what the highest vibration being that you actually are yet. Because like we had said earlier, we don't want you to be like, this isn't what we had agreed upon. We're peacing out, moving on, and we'll try it again another time. because it is so important right now for this new evolution of human to happen. We have to be very conscientious of how we move you guys through this without having to wait another 100 years. So there's a lot to this, and it's very complicated to answer the question you're asking in a way that you will truly understand. So just trust that we are in collaboration with you in your soul, even if you're not awake to it yet in this moment. This is an evolution that is going to take time, and it's not going to be as simple as we were hoping or hypothesized to be. Because once again, as we said, this is still in an experiment phase. As this evolves, then the new human will just naturally come on board in a new level. You guys have chosen to be the new frontiers of this journey.
What was the hypothesis that they thought was going to happen?
It was that it would move way quicker and a lot more easily.
What would move quicker?
Our evolution of a human. They were hoping for us to awaken a lot quicker, change the way we are, and move through to the new existence in a much faster pace.
So they didn't know the power of the lower densities or frequencies. They didn't know how strong it was. So it's like we've been deadlifting millions of pounds spiritually.
Absolutely. And they also didn't understand the stronghold that other beings have on us as humans and how they have imprinted their programming so deeply into us as a human DNA and human cellular being. So as we reproduce, we're constantly
Like we carry our parents' trauma with us.
Exactly.
They didn't realize how much of a hold that prior trauma would be.
Absolutely.
So when we evolve, we're evolving for all of our ancestors, which I've heard before too. I'm not just in Buddhism, they say it's 7 generations back, 7 generations forward is what you're elevating when you elevate your life condition. Wow. And they're like, ooh, sorry. Whoops.
Yeah. And it's not that they're doing anything wrong or right or anything else. It's like we literally agreed to come here now to be that experiment and to see.
Is that where Homo sapien comes from? Because and I'm not sure if this is still the science fact, but there's still dotted lines for how Homo sapien actually came to be. They still don't have the missing links. And that might be an old term now that they're finding there were so many hominids on the planet at once. But is Homo sapien like what we have ended up being, the ones that have continued on? We're the ones that said, "Go, okay, let's see if we can. We'll jump in and see if we can do this experiment and get this going." Or
let me ask, because these are all stuff I have never asked and explored. So let me ask what they have to say on that.
Wait for Crazy Julie to ask.
No, I think it's great because
they're fun questions.
Questions that we have as humans of like, why are we suffering? Why are we going through so much? And why isn't it changing? Even though everybody's promising change, why is it, it's going to take years? What is it? What are we going through?
Right.
Let me ask.
Okay.
So yes, there was many forms of different beings that were put on this earth. Hence why there was, continents that separated us and we didn't have the ability to too much connect. But at the same time, there was a higher frequency of beings that were using the pyramids to travel around the world. So there was a lot of different groups that were being part of this earthly existence in its beginnings and throughout it. The difference is that what happened was there was some ill-intentioned beings that were permitted to come onto this earth, and then they just kind of wreaked havoc, I guess is the right word, wreaked too at the same time. Coming from, but what they did is they imprinted all the other beings in a way that was not agreed upon. but yet it already happened. And without creating a full-on war, which there have been many of in the past, but we're trying to eliminate that, it's more of how can we, lack of a better term, breathe this out of us, breathe these imprints out of us and create us in a new way. Well, they learned through frequency, hence why the the word we can't pronounce,
Schumann.
resonance is coming in, and the frequency,
It's changed, hasn't it?
it
Did it
changed.
raise or lower, or does it always just go like this? Like it always goes up and down, like
Right now it goes up and down a lot, but it's going way higher than it's ever been.
okay.
But it has one piece of it. But the other part is people like me that come in and channel, and our channelers, our frequency is also to help the vibration to move faster. It's not just the earthly frequencies and the galactic frequency, but it's the frequency of embodying inside a human, hence why the channeling and the channelers, we are a frequency that is resonating out information.
And knowledge is power.
Absolutely.
As they get the knowledge to other people and help, and like you and other channelers help, and really anybody enlightened or anybody willing to help somebody become happy, that kind of frequency helps it to. Knowledge is power. When you know how to become happy and you can help raise the vibration, because the earth. So is the Schumann resonance, as that raises, is that the earth? Because she's an entity. Is that her becoming happier? Is she raising her vibration?
So what I understand from what they're saying to me right now is that that frequency is actually more for the earth. But because we walk upon the earth and we're grounded into the earth, we also receive that frequency.
I feel like we're part of the earth, like we aren't separate from her. It isn't like we're almost like her children, but I wonder if this is true, because this is just the thought that I have, that so the earth is an entity, and we're almost like little brain cells that run around the top of her, giving her information of experience that's up here. I also kind of think, like with astrology, there's a story going on in the cosmos, and we are reading it from our point of view. That's what the human experience is, from the astrology point of view, is here's the story and you're reading it from your point of view. So, and like for Earth, we're part of her and she's part of us. I don't know if that's true, but we send her information as much as she, like that's like the animals, the grass, everything that's on her surface. That's how she gets the information of what's up there. Like our skin.
That's not really what's going on.
Oh.
Earth is its own entity for sure of energy, and we are supposed to work together. But humans have removed themselves so much that we are separate at the moment. There's many of us humans that are not separate that still exist. And that's something like on a human side, when I went to Costa Rica in February, I got to meet those people, and it was the most profound, amazing experience. And even though they're modernized in many ways, they were so just one with the land, with the wildlife, with the way they looked at food and the way they kept themselves healthy. And it was just amazing to me. And what came through so clear to me during that time when I met these people was that we as a human race on so many levels have really removed ourselves from our truth of what we're here for, as
like
well
we disconnected.
We're completely disconnected. We are not in the galaxies, and
we hung up.
We're just kind of somewhere in between. Many of us are learning to ground back in, and many of us are learning to reconnect, but it's a slow process, like they're saying. But what really resonated for me was that when the world goes through its biggest of this evolution, which is still to come, we're going to be looking at those people to learn how to be human again on an earth and be healthy with it, not separate or destructive. And it really hit me so hard in my heart of, holy shit, thank God these people are still here. We, a lot as the Western society, will look down upon them because they're not evolved or whatever you want to call it, which is baloney. They're evolved in a healthy way, in a different way. And it will become where our evolution will have to be knocked off its pedestal a bit and come in from their perspective to grow us and evolve us in a healthier way. So
Reconnect.
totally reconnect. And I was like, thank you, universe, that we still have these people out there, because when our world shuts down in the way we know, we're not going to know how to survive. We
You send me out camping and it's over.
yeah.
I
So
can glamp. I'm not really very good at camping.
we're not going to know what to grow, what to eat, how to do. And I know there's a lot of new evolution of generations, especially the millennials, are out there trying to evolve this, which is beautiful. But it's still, how raw can we get without all the technology? And that's where these people are going to come in and really teach us. And it was simple things like when my boyfriend got very sick from getting a bacteria or food poisoning from some seafood. They're like, we don't go to the doctor. We actually take this plant and this plant and this plant, and we put it together and make a tea and tincture, and you drink that. And it was so wonderful to witness that they knew their ecosystem, and he felt so much better from the tea that they told us to create from their native plants. And it just, that's the kind of stuff we've really lost sight of. And there's a few of us humans that know, but most of us don't.
And how sick are we from stress?
Oh, it's insane, because we're living in a society, in a mindset that humans were not designed actually to be. We developed.
live dependent. We are so dependent. Are we supposed to be that dependent?
No.
That's like if something happens, we're all shut off, we're turned off, we don't have our electricity, we're done.
Mhm.
That's very stressful. Like most people don't think about it. Can technology actually help connect us, you think?
There is an aspect of technology that can, but it also can even separate us further. So we're on that fine line.
Yeah. If we can figure out how to use AI as a connection and not as the whole, integrate it in and use it to, I almost wonder too, if technology is another part of our evolution, of our mental evolution. Like we've come so far that we're able to, it didn't make itself.
It didn't. And kind of going back to what you're saying a little bit, is that what I've witnessed in the younger generations, especially, is that they're so reliant on AI to make simple choices, and they've forgotten to think for themselves. They've forgotten to have their own voice, and they use AI for literally every fucking question out there.
Your
And
own voice,
yeah,
that DNA connection, right?
yeah, and it's so sad, because what they're creating themselves into is, like you said, relying on something that, if it doesn't exist, they're just going to literally disappear as a human, because they do not know how to be themselves anymore. They don't know how to make decisions. They don't know how to use common sense and problem solve for themselves. They're so inundated with this idea that I have to ask ChatGPT everything. My life, everything needs to go through that, or I need to have AI do everything for me. I can't simply stand up and write something down. I have to tell it to do something.
I really do love it.
It's weird. And it's, for me, growing up in the Generation X that I grew up in, of we had to think for ourselves. We had to research. We had to create. We still had that part of our existence available to us. And to witness these new generations, and I'm just like, wow, when the world goes dark, you guys are screwed, unless you have chosen not to be that.
But if we can use them together, not all one way or all the other way, then maybe technology can be used to advance us, help connect us to further our growth. I
I
feel
feel
like
like
I
I
feel
can't.
like with some of the AI, if we didn't have like videos that I could watch to learn about how other people think or live, or I'm learning Spanish on Duolingo, like I wouldn't have had the opportunity. I have dyslexia, so a lot of the technology has helped me to grow in ways that were not available to me before. So that's also interesting. So I think there's going to be a balance, but if it gets taken away, we need to be able to evolve without it.
Absolutely.
For
And
our DNA to evolve without it.
absolutely. And I do believe AI, there's such blessings to it. Absolutely. I just feel like it's swinging and we just barely are swinging and it's swinging hard
Fast.
already to that level of codependency.
Oh yeah. Oh,
And
absolute addiction,
yeah,
codependency, all in one.
yeah. And that's where it's sad as, I mean, I'm just turning 50 now and to witness the younger generations of like, it breaks my heart in a way because I'm just like, you guys don't know how to be you. You don't know how to be human without that.
Well, I have two kids that one is a Z and one is a millennial. And they literally, I don't know if this is a new movement because one is an old Z and one is a young millennial. Um, they literally will turn off their phones and not even know where they're at.
Yay! That's
They'll
amazing.
go do things and they won't take their phone. And I had a feeling a long time ago that this next generation would raise their children very different than us X did, that they will be like, you ain't getting a phone till you're 50. Like they're gonna pull back on some of that, even though they'll probably use it for help in advising and that kind of stuff. They I think they might pull back a little bit and find a healthier way to use it. Because I certainly didn't have a healthy way of using it, just like the boomers used it as a the TV as a babysitter. We use the new technology as the babysitter, and it holds them longer because it's addictive, but so is TV.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it all is. I think that maybe that's part of evolution is learning how to not be so codependent on those things at all, because what we really should be codependent on is the earth.
In a healthy way, not in a rape and pillage way.
Right. Yes. Yeah. She has enough to for everybody to exist, learn about it, right? Not
Absolutely.
not just bring it down. So the, I had another question on here. Did when we started this experiment where we said, yeah, we'll go down and like let's see what happens, when we started this experiment, did they know the power of our imagination? Is our imagination powerful?
Yes, it is. It is very powerful. And they didn't understand the full extent of the mind. They knew it was very manipulative and that our imagination can recreate our reality of truth in different ways, but they
Mhm.
didn't know how entrenched our brain has been. And the best way they're describing it is brainwashed. They didn't recognize that it was like to this level. And it's gotten worse over the years, where and they're showing like in the old days, and I'm referring to a couple hundred years ago, we were brainwashed still, but we were still connected on some level. Now with technology and the brainwashing and everything else, we're almost become the robots themselves. The
Wow.
robots that we're trying to create, we're kind of already becoming them in this human form. And
A type
it,
of enslavement.
yeah, and it's we're so well brainwashed to that we're doing it to ourselves. It's not even them so much anymore. They have created this perpetual system that we've
They being who
the beings that were not of the light in the way that they were wanting it to. Basically, they want us to be enslaved. They want us to do whatever they want us to do versus everybody being independent and cohesive together and creating and thriving in a utopia aspect.
yeah. what would a utopia aspect look like as far as, is that what they're trying to get us to? Is to be able to create heaven on earth?
Absolutely, but also to do it in a way where we still are able to have our challenges and experiences and evolution of our soul, but in a way that is not destructive like we are now.
I can't even imagine what that would look like.
We
To
don't
not be the destructive that we are now. And we're destructive to ourselves.
That's the big thing is they've
Our
programmed us to be the most destructive of to ourselves, so they don't have to do it as much anymore.
it makes us easy to be manipulated by others.
Mm-hmm.
And taking our power back is what this is all about. Coming from our heart, taking our power back. What is step one for
One
you?
is just saying, I'm done with this level of,
Making a decision.
yeah, this doesn't
Just
serve me anymore. I'm ready for the new. I'm ready to become myself and learn that you are so much more. And that the biggest thing of that choosing that shift is to allow yourself not to be afraid of what you find within you. And what I mean by
oh,
that,
not be afraid of what you find within you. That could be terrifying.
yes,
That's like the theory of sitting with your emotions. Sit with it. Don't fight it. Sit with it. Cry with it. Hold it. Like, yikes.
yeah. And that's where, people will go, I'm ready for a change. But then when they start going into the unknown territory, it frightens the hell out of them where it snaps them right back to where they were.
Ah,
So when you make
very
that,
uncomfortable.
yeah, when you make that conscious, I'm ready for change, you have to put on a brave aspect to yourself that you've never had before. Have people who can help you witness through this and go through it with you so you're not alone. And the other thing is that what I always want to bring to my people is like, you're not abnormal. What you think, feel, express, everybody does. They have a different story behind it, but we all have the same stuff. And to recognize that I'm not a bad person. That's the other piece that they
Mm-mm.
instantly, when they start sitting and learning about themselves, oh my God, I'm a horrible person. No, you're not. You've been programmed to believe you are. That's not true.
Why? What is the point of, do the Arcturians even know what is the point for us to think that we're a bad person ourselves? Is that a control mechanism? Not
That
put
was,
by them, but kind of that ancestral constantly being reminded of how bad you are so that you stay good.
well,
Like that syndrome where you start to agree with your captors.
yes. And that was from the original captors of trying to program humanity to do what they want us to do and to destroy Earth and destroy humans. They could care less about us that really truly exist on this Earth. So
I think we should start with step one, which
step one
was
is
what
just,
we is making the decision.
yeah,
Make the decision that you're done with what? What would the list of
you're
things that
done with
people could
the
be done with?
reality that you are in, that you're done with the creating of this perpetual negative reality or uncomfortable reality that you are in. And like I said, when you make that choice, you have to feel it, even if you don't know how to feel it, the best you can. And you're not going to know
How
how
do
to.
you do that? How do you feel something that you don't know how to feel?
I think the best way is just place your hands on your heart and say, I am worthy.
And feel what that feels like and feel all the no, you aren't.
Yeah. And just
You're
say,
horrible. And
and
say
I'm
why.
allowed.
Could you ask it why do you say that? Why do you say I'm horrible? Would that be like you're sitting here and
I don't think they should go into that right away because unless they have the guidance with that, it will destroy you too. Because that self-destructive mechanism that's defaulted within each of us. It's more of just, I'm worthy of being here upon this earth and love, light, and happiness. I'm ready.
why? Why are you worthy?
Why are you worthy? Because that is our God-given right, being on this earth as a human being.
Could we even say, you know why you're worthy? You were willing to come do this. This was a selfless sacrifice, and you should be extremely proud of yourself being in this life.
I like that. I think
I
that's,
like that too. That's a good one.
yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
sitting with I'm worthy for some people is going to be hard,
Yeah,
uncomfortable. I know it for other people, they're going to be like, what? That's ridiculous. But for some people, just feeling worthy or just feeling okay or just feeling like it's okay that you're here, you're not a burden. Step one.
absolutely. And even if people are like what you just described, it's interesting because I'll have like clients that will say, "Oh, I love myself. That's not an issue." Well, then when we start diving into their evolution of transformation, they recognize they actually had no idea what loving themselves truly meant. And so it's the same thing as those who would condemn someone of why wouldn't you believe you're worthy? I guarantee they're still got stuff they're hiding behind that they don't recognize yet because we don't know what that means. We really don't until we start unraveling ourselves in a healthier, newer way of seeing what we actually are versus what we've been taught to believe we are.
It's like we're all a piece of candy and we have to get through that wrapper to get to the sweet stuff. And the wrapper is going to be crinkly and it's going to be stuck and it might stick on the edge of your candy. Um, so once you get through, so step one is understand you're worthy.
And just be with yourself. Just put your hands on your heart and just breathe and feel you. And it may be very painful. And just be, I am worthy. I'm worthy to be upon this earth with light, love, and happiness and joy, true joy, and being my authentic self.
Can we do a little meditation?
Sure, absolutely. All right, I'll bring these guys in. Kaniata sadiata wada, shijita bang, kayitana salua kitichi, topatiana my house atia. All right, everybody just take a deep breath in. Allow your body to feel the denseness of your body. Don't need to go into the emotions of it. You don't need to go into any rationalization about it, anything. Just notice. Just notice. That's it. Then place your hands upon your heart. Take another breath and just feel what your heart center feels. Once again, you're just noticing. Do not need to play the story. You do not need to have understanding. Just feel. Now, recognize that you are a whole being. Even though you are separated from yourself in many ways and directions, that you are actually a whole being. And as you're on this earth, we want you to feel the earth the best you can. Simply recognizing that the earth holds you. The earth is where you place your entire existence, body, and self on. Take a breath into that. Recognize now the sky above you, that you are of these stars. You are one of these stars. You come from the stars. And you're being held on this earth where you rest your body, you play in this body, and you experience and express in this body. So you have your connection that you're here on this earth. It's padded and it's holding you. And yet you are still connected to the heavens above you of the star systems. You came here through choice, in agreements, in contracts, to evolve the way you choose to evolve, to maintain this new existence of what a human is to transform into. And you are worthy to be upon this earth. You are worthy. You are doing exactly what you were meant to do, with all the messiness, all the chaos, all the grief, and all the happiness and joy and everything you've experienced with everything in between. You are meant to go through this to understand the earthly expression and experience that currently is trapped. You are worthy because you endured it. You came out, you're still alive, you still breathe, and you're still moving it forward, even if it feels like you're dragging thousands and thousands of pounds with you. Recognize that you're so worthy to be here, that you're still trying to put on a smile. You're still trying to feel life. You're still trying to just feel. Because deep inside you, you know you are so much more. And that you're a warrior in your own right. As this earth was not easy in any way for you to exist in. You were dropped here. You chose to be dropped here to have this experience so that you can evolve from it into a new evolution, so that the next time you choose to come to this earth or dropped here through your choice, that you will not ever, ever have to endure what you are already enduring or what you have endured. That this will be a peaceful utopia of existence and coexistence with all things, including who you truly are. You are worthy because you have chosen to continue your path. You are worthy because you are strong and endured and went through it all. You are worthy because you know you can evolve further and become the new human. You are worthy because your heart still beats in that chest, in this human body, and you are worthy because you know that your mind can create and destroy. You are no longer ignorant to this. You are worthy because you know that it's time for the mind to no longer be in charge, but to live in a heart center. You are worthy because you take one step after the next step, carrying that heavy load. And as you evolve into your authentic self, your true being that you are always meant to evolve into, that you always were and always have been, but becoming awakened to, that weight will start dissolving. It'll start disappearing. And the lightness of what the purpose of humanity is supposed to be will start becoming. And you will step into all aspects of this new evolution. You are worthy. You have taken the heavy load, and now you are moving it forward. You are worthy because you are resilient. You are worthy because you are a soul in this human expression, evolving humanity into what they actually are. Do not place information or deceitfulness of ideas within yourself that you are not worthy. Because the truth is what we just did with you. These are all manipulations and lies to keep you down. But no, you are a resilient being. And you will come through this. And you're going to come through this with community and learning true love of self. As you work as a community, you evolve together. And it's not so isolating and alone. So we ask you now to make your community, create your community. And this community may shift and change as you grow to keep evolving yourself. Do not follow anyone who makes you feel less than or tells you you're doing it wrong. Follow the steps that you're meant to take of becoming the light and the love and the heart-centered human being that lives in joy and seeing the earthly realms in all its dimensions. You are worthy and you are strong. Remember this. You are never alone, as we are all with you. You just ask for our assistance. You may not always know that we're there. Trust that we are. Because until you become the lightness of what you truly are, it's hard to understand the frequency that's actually being elevated into you. We are here. We hold each human's hands. You still have human choice, and we will guide you through that the best we can, allowing you to have all freedom of being in this human existence that you were guaranteed. We love you. Once again, hold your chest, your heart. Tell yourself, I am worthy, and I am proud to be me, and I stand in the power of who I actually, truly am. Take a deep breath into that. And this transmission is complete. How was that?
That was amazing. Thank you. Wow. I think that's a beautiful way to wrap this session up. So I'm not sure I could talk. You
Yeah.
are worthy because you are resilient.
Yep. And we are the frontiers of moving this through and the journey that we're going to be going on. And the one thing that I love what they said is just, I can't keep saying this over and over again to minis, is just, you have to have community. Because trying to understand this alone, it's way more painful and it's not necessary, because there's so many people coming online right now, awakening, and we all need each other to keep us moving together forward.
And people that want to learn how to channel to help people along too can learn how to do that as well, right?
Yes.
Yeah. That's what you do, right?
Yes. Well, I don't teach channeling per se. Some people I do teach it to. It's more, I'm here to
You
just,
don't have to come to you if you want to be a channel, but
no.
because you do so much more than that.
Yeah. I'm more into teaching people really to become their authentic self and to step into the power of who they are unapologetically and be in love with themselves in a healthy manner. Be that superhuman that we were always meant to be, but now we're evolving into.
Right. Become happy.
Yes. Navigate life in a whole different aspect and visual or vision than what we have right now, which is limited.
Awesome. Thank you.
Well, thank you. This has been fun, and I hope everybody enjoyed this, and we look forward to our next podcast and see what comes up with that.
That sounds fun.
Yay. Bye, everybody.
Bye. Bye.